Maestro's strength was in his playmaking rather than his goal-scoring ability, and again, his tally is more a reflection of his record-breaking number of appearances in a one-club career. However, 158 goals places him second only to Ivor's record.
Where he was so very good, he was a good striker of the ball, great timer of the ball. And people forget he did score a lot of goals. In fact, I think he scored 22 goals in one season. I think I have to check that. But, because he used to stroke the ball, he never used to try and hit it too hard. And it was great at sort of placing the ball exactly where he wanted it. This is where he was so very good.
John was a fantastic player, but as you say, Patrick, he was more making the goals. I mean, he probably had two of the best feet. When I say best feet, he could strike the ball with left or right foot as good as anybody in the world, and he didn't score as many goals as he should have done. He'd rather set up somebody else to have the final shot of goal or the final striker on the target.
But he scored one with his head. And I remember that Graham Leggett hit it a very hard, low-driven cross into the near post, and Johnny went and headed it and he knocked himself out. And part of the fact he went in like a rocket, he came away looking very, very dazed, because he had to glance it in, But we were playing with those awful balls in those days, Patrick. They were Weber T-balls, and they probably weighed about 32 ounces by the time the game ended. And he headed this one in, and I remember it really shook him. But it was one of the goals that I remember because he headed it. You didn't see Johnny head the ball very much. He was very correct in what he did. Every time he did something with head, foot, it was always correct. But you didn't often see him head the ball.
I just think he should have scored more goals than he did. When he did score a goal, it was something special. It was always from outside the box, never inside the box. As a player and as a captain, he was absolutely first class.
He was one of my heroes. So I arrived at Fulham because basically of him, being able to watch him perform, also watch him train and do all the things that you would expect the England captain to do. And literally on my debut against Leyton Orient, when I was 17 years of age, I was 17 in November, and my debut was in the February. And then on the opening day of my debut, Johnny Haynes scored a hat-trick against Leyton Orient. We beat Leyton Orient 5-2 and he scored 3 goals. So to have your first game, playing with the captain of England, and one of your heroes, and he scores a hat-trick, I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I see him score a hat-trick against Russia once as well at Wembley. Frank Osborne, who was the old general manager here when I was a kid, took the whole of the club over to Wembley this afternoon when Haynes was playing, because they didn't have floodlights in those days at Wembley. And he said to me, son, you're going to see probably one of the greatest players you'll ever see. He said, play today. And I wondered who he was talking about. I mean, I'd seen Haynes, of course I had as a kid. But the performance that he put on against Russia was absolutely phenomenal. As a captain of England, scored 3 goals for England at Wembley. He was just wonderful.
What a loss to England if he'd gone to the Italians. Here comes the second one. At the Royal Box, he was congratulated by the Queen as he received the international trophy.
Easily Fulham's best player ever. One of England's greatest players, no doubt about that.
Out at Walton-on-Thames, let's meet Mr. Trinder. The famous comedian somehow finds time to be Fulham chairman as well as a star. Tell me, Tommy, did Haynes take much persuading to stay?
None at all. You see, Fulham and Johnny Haynes are synonymous in as much as he left school, came to Fulham, has been with us 11 years. I think it was just a question of, would it be worthwhile giving up this fabulous offer? After all, there was £15,000 involved with the signing-on fee, and when he found that he'd got something that was rather equitable, he said, my mind's made up, I stay with Fulham.
Back at the cottage, here's Johnny himself. So you're quite happy to stay in England, Johnny?
Yes, I'm very happy about the salary I'm getting. It's not as much as I would have got if I'd have gone to Italy, but I think what I'm losing, it'll be worth, to stay in this country with my family and friends.
You won't see anybody like him ever again, I don't believe. I despair of where we're going to find one like Johnny Haynes.